As usual, I'm your host, Hector Rodriguez, Optic Hacks. We have my man Drift0r.
Glad to be here.
Full name?
Brad Overby.
Okay. Brad Overby, Mr. Drift0r himself, legendary Call of Duty content gaming creator. What is it? Hutch always quotes you. And Hutch always says that the other thing.
Yeah. Oh, you can go ahead and say that. Doesn't bother me. It's a compliment.
Yeah. So Hutch always calls you the man with the biggest dick in the world. So congrats. I don't know how he knows that, but he's Hutch. We've always been big fans. We watch obviously the majority of your tech videos, specifically surrounding the world of connectivity on the internet when playing Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it latency, some people call it lag. We can get into that, but back to it. All right. Sorry, this episode is brought to you by Curology, DOORDASH, and Canva. And I'll tell you a little bit more about them later on in the show. I started creating YouTube videos, I believe, in 2007.
1 year before, I did 2006. Now, it wasn't like a career or a daily thing. I had a super cheap, like $90 digital camera that could technically do video in about 480p.
What do you mean technically?
Like, it was like really low quality, low res, just something we got at Walmart. And I was doing little stop motion animations and little puppets and jokes and just little bits of nonsense once or twice a month on YouTube. It wasn't a career then.
No. It was a passion thing, right?
Yeah, it was just fun.
It was like 4 years of passion work for a lot of us. When you started, did you have any intention on doing gaming videos, or like you said, it was just like animation and comedy?
I had no intention of doing any of that long term. It was literally just for fun. I lived in a small town.
Yeah.
There was nothing to do besides nothing and drink. And I tried to find a more productive hobby and just started doing little, I'd call them art films, but it was like cleaning your room in stop motion where your socks scoot across the floor and clean themselves, little things like that.
So I'm looking at my YouTube video right now to show you my first video that I've ever uploaded. I don't think anybody knows because it's privatized, but it's essentially me painting a train way back when.
All right, I want to see it. You got to download it and embed it up in the corner somewhere.
What do you mean? Oh, here, this one?
Yeah.
I probably will. Matt has access to all of that. So at what point? Let's start from the beginning. Where did you grow up?
I grew up the South in general. My family was not the most stable and most above the law. So we had a lot of impromptu changes for various southern states, mostly Texas and Mississippi. I grew up in the Mississippi Delta. I don't know how much you know about the region, but the Mississippi Delta is the poorest part of Mississippi. It's like if you pulled the Delta out of Mississippi, Mississippi goes from like rank 50 or 48 to like 30. It's not a great place.
And what year were you born?
87.
87. Okay,
so I'm elderly.
Yeah, no, I was born in 80, so I was already 7 when you came into my world.
Oh man.
All right, so go on.
Doing a whole life story. Moved around a ton. Missed a lot of school growing up.
Military family or
criminal?
Criminal family.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, just
the
like
outlaw.
Not me. I was a little goobery kid. Mommy, why is the airplane flying over our house again and dropping all these packages? And then the next day we've moved. We were growing pot.
Yeah.
They could see it with the heat signatures and stuff.
Got it. Yeah, how crazy is it that? Are you guys? Are you still close with your family?
Relatively, yeah. We don't live together, but I contact with everybody, of course.
Got it. Do you? Are they still in the industry?
Oh no! Everybody's retired. Nobody lives in that.
But now it's legal. You know what I'm saying? It's like so. What was that like? Like when you realized that they were growing pot?
I didn't realize that until like way later. It was like It was like years later. And it was just kind of like, well, that explains a lot. That sucks. Honestly, I never really stopped to think or process or have a lot of feelings about it. It was just one crazy thing after another. So instead of feeling like my whole world is shattered, I was like, well, I knew it was something.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's that had to have been tough, but also exciting a little bit. That's a good story to tell. What was the craziest thing that you went through? I mean, if you can share. Obviously.
One of my family members tried to poison everybody and kill them so that they could inherit the trust that was set up for my brother. And I was the only person that didn't get poisoned because I was at school. So I had to take care of my immediate family and not answer the door and not let anybody in for a couple of days until they got better. I think it's just like, it's not like some brilliant, like evil villain thing. It was just like some redneck idea that let's just mix this in the spaghetti and they'll probably die.
Yeah.
So everybody just got super sick. So as soon as we got well, we ghosted.
Yeah, and is the person still around?
Oh yeah, they live together now. They're friends again somehow. It's
oh my god!
Immediate family poisoning each other.
Describe that to me. Like, what was the plan? I mean, besides inheriting or taking over the family business, like,
I had a stepfather who's very wealthy, lived here in Dallas, owned a company that still is doing very well here in Dallas, and he had a child, my brother, half brother, and he was in bad health. He'd had a stroke. He wasn't doing very good. There was a long-term plan to drive my mother crazy with some, that's just like a whole weird psychological warfare thing. And when that really wasn't working.
I'm going to plant ghosts, or I'm going to move shit around.
Yeah.
So she starts like.
Yep, exactly that kind of stuff.
Am I a psycho that I immediately thought about how to do that?
I have like a whole series of videos on my channel about this.
Okay.
Growing up, I was big into ghosts and stuff, and I don't know how much of it was real and how much of it was side effects of family trying to drive my mom crazy.
Yeah.
But the idea was that if she's crazy and the old guy dies because his health's already bad, nobody's going to think much of it, then all of the millions of dollars will go to a trust for my little brother that will be managed by the immediate family, and they can manage it for whatever they want.
Yeah.
So when he didn't die of old age, the health conditions didn't get worse, and my mom didn't crumble, they decided to step it up a bit. That was my understanding of the situation. Yeah. Everybody still denies everything to this very day.
Yeah. They're cool with you having this conversation about it? Like, obviously, you've made videos.
I don't care.
Okay.
I literally don't care.
My man. I think I'd have the same attitude towards that sort of traumatic. How old were you at the time when that
I'd been like 11 or 12.
Holy shit. So I didn't old enough to understand it at the very minimum.
Yes.
How do you, man, that's cool. One, that you're not afraid of it. Two, that you're so open and thinking about it. I mean, that's super healthy that you're able to openly talk about it and not have like a sort of hesitation in even having that conversation.
Well, talking about things is easy. Changing your behavior based on those things is hard.
Mm-hmm.
You grow up like that, and that's one thing. If fill a book full of nonsense like that. When you turn into an adult, you're distrustful, you're paranoid, double think. Those things are much harder to let go of than just having a conversation like this.
And did you see those things start to psychologically happen inside of you?
And absolutely.
And then you rectified it how?
Patience, time, effort, practice, logic. I'm blessed that the logical part of my brain is sharper than most.
Yeah.
So if I feel one thing, I have the ability to step outside and take a look and be like, that probably ain't right. Odds of that's real low. You're being a little silly today.
Dude, you and Hutch should have a conversation.
We did.
Seth. You should have a seminar for a couple of my friends.
Okay.
Because some of the shit that I hear, Nate will be a part of that class. I'll probably join just to see what's up, or maybe something that I hadn't thought about, like it's applicable. But it had to have been like you're married, right?
Yes.
Did she have a lot to do with like the logic and like sort of helping you get out of that?
Yeah, I was in before I met my wife. I was in a terrible headspace. I was 18 years old, and I was just convinced that I probably wasn't going to live to see 30. I was in college just to go there and be away from home. I had no goals, no desires, no nothing. Funny story. My wife is the first person I ever dated.
Okay.
And I am the first person she ever dated. We both met each other, never saw anybody else, and got married. So that's kind of unique.
I have a similar story. Judith and I, I was Judith's like first and only Mexican boyfriend, and she was my first and only Mexican girlfriend. So we stuck around. So sort of similar.
You find the compatibility, and you don't need to move on, right?
Yeah, we did. Well, yeah, I think race had nothing to do with it. More of No, I meant that from the way that I said. I was the one that positioned it that way. But I always find that funny, and I just think that our personalities match like super well. What are some of like the exercises that you did besides like sort of stepping aside and looking at it? Because a lot of people don't have that mental fortitude to be like, okay, hold on, calm the fuck down, and then be like, all right, what's happening? Like, did you write the problem down and then point different like things at it? Oh my god!
I just think about it. Just sit there and think about it for a while. Read, lot of reading. Google is your friend. Some people don't Google very well. Searching is a skill. Tons of stuff you can start on Wikipedia and click through the articles.
The first page.
No, you can just click the links and read the articles. You can research your problems, and you can take some time to kind of learn about it.
Yeah.
But I think what really helped was having a partner, a wife, a focus.
Yeah.
Somebody to adequately criticize me when I was doing or saying weird things,
Yeah.
And a reason to actually care to want to improve.
That's good.
And that's actually what led into the YouTube career as well. So we were engaged in college. And my wife is Chinese, and one of the things that she wanted to do is have a traditional Chinese wedding.
Mhm.
For those of you at home that don't know, that's, I can't remember if it was 9 or 11 courses. It was a whole bunch of courses. You bring in the whole family, the aunts and uncles, and it's not like a weird foreign thing. It's just whole family has to be there. There has to be good food. Those two things are important.
Mhm.
And I was broke.
Okay.
I was broke, bro, like $0 minimum wage job in college. I avoided debt, but I was like scooting by. And my little hobby had just started developing and making these little machinima videos. This is back in the day before gameplay, where you had these...
Before Machinima Respawn.
Yes, before Machinima Respawn, it was Machinima Regular. So it was mostly like RB in Chief and stories about sad Spartans. They'd animate them with their heads bobbing up and down.
As I'm currently shaking yes.
But I got a message. It was a spam message.
Okay.
We need body actors. And I was like, what in the world is a body actor on Halo, right? So I joined, and the people in the lobby talked to me and they said, check out this video. And I looked at it, and that was amazing. And what I realized what they were doing is they could do a full production right there with good production value, effects, guns, whatever, using the game engine in the theater. The only thing they needed was editing and voice actors. They didn't need any of these expensive props. They didn't need any sets or anything. And I love this. I always loved telling stories since I was this tall, just talk. It was so fun. So I was like, this is an unlimited vehicle for me to tell any story I want, maybe within the Halo universe, and it cost me nothing. The capture card was $15.
Dazzle?
Easy Cap.
Easy Cap.
Not even the Easy Cap, the Chinese knockoff Easy Cap that barely worked and came with pirated software.
Yeah, jeez.
Made it work, made some videos. I got into Machinima main on the recommendation of a friend, not on my own skills by a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
And
you want to shout out the friend?
Chinggis Khan.
Shit, yeah. I remember him.
Yeah, you do?
I remember him, the name.
Yeah, he was one of their top directors because he was trying to do like art films.
Yeah. So R&B, as you said earlier, red versus blue.
Mm-hmm. So then what happened, I got in, and I was making like a little bit of money, and it hit a point where I didn't really need to do like the minimum wage job anymore. So I was just making a little bit of money every now and then, making a machinima video. And my wife wanted to do this wedding, and I looked and I was like, oh God, this is like $7,000 to do all this. I don't have that kind of money. And I thought about it. I was like, well, YouTube and these videos and machinima is really a very linear relationship. The more videos you make, the more money you make. So more X is more Y. And I thought if I hit this pretty hard now, then in a couple of months, I might have enough money to pay for this. And I'll also pick up another part-time job as well. And I did that in an entrepreneurship incubator center at college, which is like where all the grad students go to pitch their ideas and get funding, right? But I was like the minimum wage guy there. The honest answer is I didn't work. I had a spreadsheet open all the time and would just do this all day. As soon as the boss walked by, and I just close the tab and do something different when he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's important for later. We'll loop back to that.
Yeah, please.
So I just worked my butt off for like 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 or 6. I lost track of time. A video a day, every day, doing stuff on my channel, the Machinima channel, getting as many of these. I did Noob versus Pro. I put my little dog in costumes and had him talk and argue with people.
So good.
And about the time for the wedding, the first couple of checks came in. We paid for everything. Thankfully, a Chinese wedding, they give you money in little red packets for a gift instead of like plates and stuff for the most part. So we made a little bit back. And I was like, okay, that's cool. It's done. And I was going to be an engineer or business guy. I was getting an MBA. And then the check kept coming, because this was back in the days when they paid you 3, maybe for Machinima 4 or 5 months late when they were having those rough times.
Yeah.
And these checks kept coming, and I compared one month to the next, and I was just doing the math, and I was like, wait a minute now. If I did this for a whole year, this would pay more than my degree. Something's wrong with that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I had to show my wife, and I was like, this is nonsense. And it finally clicked to me that I could do this job and make not as much, but more money than the hard degree engineering or MBA or anything like that. So I kind of
while having fun.
Yes. So I kind of secretly worked it.
Yeah.
I was lying to my wife saying, oh yeah, I'm going to go for an interview at this company and it's doing good. We're going to get this degree. And my boss, I stopped going to work. I didn't 2 weeks notice. It just all of a sudden Brad wasn't there one day. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, I felt terrible about it because this guy gave me a job when I was down and out. He was a great professor.
Yeah.
And I went to talk to him. And I told him that I had just quit by not showing up and that my other business was doing too good and it didn't make sense. And instead of being mad about it, he was like, thank goodness. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I didn't hire you to do office work. I knew that you were going to do something with that little business. You just needed time to do it before you went bust. So
you want to shout out the boss? Or not? You don't know.
I don't think he works there anymore.
Well, shout out to him anyway.
Yes.
All right, so he was holding you over because he knew that you had a passion for this thing that was going to work.
So I immediately went from literally intern at the Entrepreneurship Center to let's put you in a funding round. And that funding round I got some money from and got some better equipment so I could keep making videos. At the time, I thought I was going to be a real life director and make like, you know, cameras like all these lovely ones here. And we were doing special effects and stunts, and I was terrible. I was just terrible at that. And just kept experimenting, and gaming finally took off. The In-Depth series is what really took off for the channel, because I was doing engineering at the time, and COD was... Can we curse on this show?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. COD was just like, yo, this shit's be killing people. This gun is amazing. You fuck people up with this MP5. And I'll be like, why?
Yeah.
Because it blows people up. Okay. It put FMJ on it. It'll deal more damage. And I was like, sure? So it was just a long argument with a friend, and I realized nobody knew anything about any of this stuff. Nobody in the community had the skills to analyze any of it. No basic maths. I mean, this was when the COD community was literally all teenagers. None of these adults that you see today were there.
Except for me, and I was not good at math.
So made a little series doing that. Machinima loved it. Views were good. Made me a bunch of money. I did get screwed by Machinima because I wanted to partner my own channel. And they said, we don't do that. I'm like, but four of my friends got partnerships, and they're like, no, we don't do that. Besides, you'll be better off putting all your content on our channel. For like 2 or 3 years, I didn't have a channel. It was all Machinima. Yeah. And then about the time they went bust is when I had to start my channel and start building back up.
Wait, so you didn't partner your channel until when?
Sometime into Modern Warfare 3.
Okay. I don't remember how or where in the... do you remember the game station?
The game station?
TGS, yeah, the game station. They were part of Maker Studios?
Yes.
Okay. So at some point, I think it was around 2010, when the Machinima Premier Directors were around. Do you remember that, the Respawn?
Everybody wanted that.
Yeah, so there was 5 of them. It was Optic, Hutch, C-Nanners.
Dr. Disrespect?
Dr. Disrespect got voted in way after.
Okay.
And he went up against a whole bunch of people, and we put the whole Optic Nation fucking network, like, to go vote for our friend.
That's probably why I remember him more than anybody else, being the Premier Director.
Yeah, so... Okay, who was it? All right, so there was an issue where they weren't going to partner us either, and we were going to leave the network. And obviously, you know, Optic was super popular back then. I mean, it still is, but at the time, it meant something. And we sort of negotiated a deal with them that if they're like, I told them, he sent in I've talked about this a bunch, so I won't spend too much on it. But essentially, what ended up happening is that I told them, okay, if you don't partner our channels, you have to allow us to upload a daily video as much as we want to get this payment. They're like, well, we can't do that. I'm like, all right, then we have to go, and we're gonna go to TGS. And they were like, well, it's like, well, give us a second. Give us about a week. And then they started to partner all the channels. They sort of did the research, found out how TGS was about to do it, and that whole thing. And that's how the Super MCN became Machinima that it was. But it on the same deal, I said, you also have to hire my friend Optic J, because he wants to be in the industry. And we just, you know, we're helping each other out and doing that whole thing. Every single time I bring up Optic J, I have like this like thing in the back of my throat that says like, I don't have any issues with him anymore, and I guess I'm just being open right now. Like I haven't talked to him. I don't know if I ever will, or if I, it does. But I just don't have those ill feelings. And every single time I see somebody post like Optic J, like it makes me feel bad. You know what I mean? So I don't know why I just felt like sharing that right now. Anyway,
that's okay. Share what you want. It's your show.
Thank you. That aside, I negotiated. I'm like, all right, you got to give this dude a deal, and then you have to partner our shit. So if they partner our stuff, then they would have to partner everybody, and that's where like they're like, oh my god, we are gonna make way more fucking money. And this had to have been around like 2011.
Yeah, this was right before they decided to pay people flat fees, because what they thought they were gonna do is pay a flat fee, and then the ad rates would be higher, and people started cranking out 30-second videos and like bankrupted the whole company.
Explain that to them. You explain that to the audience.
So this YouTube didn't pay what it used to pay. It was a lot lower, but it was growing around this time. And Machinima saw that the income was steadily, actually, for camera, I'll flip it, steadily going up year by year.
I wouldn't have fucking.
And they thought, okay, what we can do is we can lock people in at like a $2 or $3, $4 or $5 CPM fixed rate contract. We'll secure all our big talent. They'll be stable. And this year might suck, but the little guys with the splits, and then over time the ad rates will grow and we'll turn a profit. What happened is everybody like White Boy and T Martin, and I think even PewDiePie was on this train. They were
$2.
Yeah, $2. They were like, okay, I'm making $2 per 1,000 views.
No, $2. You remember $2? The Asian dude from fucking
yes,
Canada.
I do remember. That's funny because it's $2, but the most common rate was $2 as well.
$2.50.
So they're like, I'm gonna make 8 30-second videos a day and just crank those views.
Yeah.
Funny story. This is gonna show you how stupid I am. They offered me this deal near the end, flat rate $3. I sat down with their business manager and I told them this is not a sustainable practice. I said, I want to have a job here in 10 years, not just today. And they're like, we'll pay you $3.50. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. you guys are going to go bankrupt.
You're trying to save them and trying to give you a raise while you're sitting there?
Yeah, this company is like, if you keep doing this, you guys are going to run out of money. You're going to run out of liquidity. And they're just like, we don't want to deal with you anymore.
Yeah.
And I thought I was doing the right thing, trying to help the company I was working for. And then I look over at my friends with their 30-second videos and their $1 million houses, and I'm like, pain.
Yeah.
I should have just taken everything.
Yeah. For me, it was a $2.50, flat fee. And obviously at the beginning of the year, if you guys don't know, the way the YouTube ad networks work is that at the beginning of the year, the first quarter are usually super low because
it's miserable.
It's not great, right? So you're getting, just for shits and giggles, you're getting $1 every 1,000 views as opposed to $14 at the end of the year or the last quarter. So what they would do is they would say, all right, we're gonna take a hit on the first half of the year by giving everybody $2.50, but it's cool because when we're getting $25 fucking dollars, we're only gonna have to give them 2.5.
Exactly.
Right. So that obviously didn't work because people were saying, it's like, well, as long as my video's longer than 10 seconds, I will be able to run an ad. So $2, legendary dude. One day I will interview him. I don't know if he's here. I mean, I don't even know where he's at. But so this dude was starting uploading like 30-second fucking videos, like the bare minimum, and they would get a shit ton of views.
Yes.
So $100,000 views. So for 30 seconds, you were getting paid $250 8 times a fucking day.
It was great. So many people made bank on that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did they ever?
Good times. That was the Wild Wild West.
Yes.
Like, actually, that was the caveman era. That wasn't even Wild Wild West.
There was nothing. There were no laws, no rules, no regulations. There were people, you would just do a deal and not get paid.
Yeah.
There would be companies that would just vanish into the night like they didn't exist and run away with everything.
Yeah.
Machinima basically did that.
Yeah.
It really was the Wild Wild West.
The keys to the kingdom that company had. They would still be around if they would just had a little foresight into what was up. But when things are going so fucking well, how do you do the Drift0r and sort of step away and look at the fuck you're doing and say,
Well, the things I do don't always work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I stepped away from money doing that.
Yeah.
I stepped back to look at their business model and it cost me money. So maybe that's not always the best approach.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've actually changed my opinion a little bit. The best approach is more to get it while you can get it.
Yeah. Do the wrong thing. You know,
no.
Do the right thing is overhyped.
No, I don't do that.
I'm kidding.
I never do I've turned down stupid money for doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
As you know, it's something I didn't think we can talk about here. I've had companies ask me to lie for them and stuff. I don't do that.
No, that's good. I was kidding. That's good. It's admirable. We sort of don't have to do it, but it's the right thing. Like some sponsorships just don't fit us. One of the things that early on made me think that Machinima was doing the wrong thing was when I saw a L'Oreal lipstick ad 2 times in a row in one of my videos, and I'm like, zero chance any of the people that watch me are gonna buy this for their girlfriends. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the ad targeting wasn't as sophisticated as now, or maybe they were just didn't care.
Oh, it's so sophisticated now. Like yesterday, I was looking up the address to see where to drive, right? And 2 minutes later, I'm watching a video. And it's like, hey, let's go to the Cidercade down in Dallas. And it's like, click here to get directions. And I'm like, it knew that I would be driving around Dallas proper. And it's like, while you're out, you should go here. That's smart. Back in the day, it was just like, teenagers watch this channel, put some teen stuff on it, which is why the adpocalypse happened. Because I think it was Coca-Cola and a couple of big brands, their videos were showing up on like hate videos. Because the hate videos would have a certain audience, and Coca-Cola is a big company, and they would be like advertised to everybody under 30. Mm-hmm. And some horrible YouTuber with hate videos would have a bunch of views, and the Coke ads would go on there, and some executives saw it and basically had a heart attack. Yeah. And it's kind of their fault because they didn't really specify anything, and YouTube honestly wasn't really filtering any of that stuff either. So
Apocalypse, what a time. I don't think we were really affected by it. I never saw the actual like downfall of it. Obviously I was in the PewDiePies or the massively massive channels, but we didn't I was aware of it. I saw what was happening, and you sort of saw it coming, right? Like I came from the mortgage industry, subprime lending industry. So
yeah.
You got a story?
No, I don't have a story. It's just that's a whole different story. We're almost heading back to that. Have you seen the rates on homes?
Oh, yeah.
You'd think that when the economy went down and nobody had a job, home value would go down. It skyrocketed because the interest rates are like nothing.
Yeah, I think that now more than ever, people are more concerned with. I mean, if historically, people get bailed out when they do bad things. Historically, on YouTube, you do bad shit, your viewership fucking increases, right? You talk about bad shit, you talk about drama, you talk about shit. Boom! Everybody wants to look at the car crash.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to mind their own fucking business, including me, who took a picture of a burning car the other day on heading down to Dallas. But it's a weird time that we live in as humans, because you are sort of you sort of feel this need to share everything, including the bad shit. The bad shit is like, oh, I don't know if it's fear, I don't know if it's curiosity, I don't know what it is. But just like then, now people see it's like, well, we saw the 2008 bubble happen and the housing market got bailed out. They're even making fucking movies about it. It's fucking dope. So let's just fucking do it again and get movies made out of us.
Not going to get punished for it. It's the same way, a different scale. A lot of oil and energy companies are effectively creating every day a crime against humanity with the amount of pollution or where the raw resources come from. You don't want to look too much into that.
Yeah.
And there's no punishment for it.
Yeah.
Like, fine.
Yeah. But if you get caught with a joint anywhere in Texas,
heaven forbid.
Heaven fucking forbid. You know what's crazy about that? And look, I'm ever since the last crime I ever committed was probably painting a train in my youth.
Criminal mastermind.
Yeah, it was just painting a train, and I know I wasn't a teen. I had to been like 27, right before Liv was born. So I follow the rules. I'll speed, but that's just heavy foot and incredible hand-eye coordination.
Nobody's perfect.
Right? But the thing that bothered me, especially now that I'm stepping into the cannabis industry, is like how can one state be so free and open? How can marijuana be so legal in one state and extremely opposite illegal as it is somewhere else? You know what I mean? Even a fucking joint.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I want to let you know you gave me the worst case of FOMO ever when you announced your upcoming brand, because it's something I'd been thinking about. I have a friend in Oklahoma. It's like, man, I need to visit this guy. I can probably get something going on.
Yeah.
And then I look and it's like,
yeah,
Heck's doing exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, look,
I had to say congrats because it was a smart move.
Thank you.
I'm a big marijuana fan myself.
Yeah.
I don't get the luxury of enjoying that here in Texas, especially not now that something we can talk about later. Police are at my house like every day, just about.
Yeah.
But I hope that you kill it with that.
I'm going to, and I hope maybe we can collab one day.
Dude, I'd love to.
Do the Drift0r pack. Think about it.
Fun.
You get to pick the strain. You get to maybe even create your own genetics through my geneticists. Is that
oh
what
my
called?
God! You gotta stop.
No, I'm gonna keep going.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah,
You could just have like a whole set of sponsored weed for your influencers and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Marijuana's been overall good for me. I usually only get to smoke when I'm traveling to like California, Washington, which thankfully pre-COVID was like once a month, every other month. So it was like my favorite thing about going to a COD event. And I was like the nerdy white guys, goody two shoes, clean content, and then you see me there.
Just puffing it down.
Yeah.
The thing is like if somebody saw you taking shots and fucking, drink after drink, nobody would fucking think otherwise, right? They'd be like, it's getting fucked up. But the marijuana one, it's like, oh shit, how dare you? And the more I think about it, the more research that I do, it's like it's thankfully the internet happened, because if the internet happened and free access to information wasn't as it is today, kids these days would have grown up vilifying it the way that I grew up vilifying marijuana.
I don't think kids should be smoking weed though.
I agree.
It's not great during that developmental phase.
I agree.
Don't do that.
I agree. My first joint happened on the football field at Wheeling, Illinois high school graduation day.
Okay.
I was straight edge
so
all through high school.
Your brain was pretty much together then. So.
Yeah. No, look, my wife and I talk about obviously the business and where we're going, and my daughter, who's 11, like understands what it is and sees that, but she knows that just like anything else, you have to grow up first before you're able to even do anything. And I don't think I I think I'm 100% going to be like a super strict parent, just because that's the way that I was raised, and it worked for me, right? I can't imagine what my life would have looked like if my dad didn't beat my ass, or if I had the fear of my dad beating my ass if I misbehaved. So
yeah, you learned consequences.
Yeah.
You learned that there are things you can do that you can't fix, you can't put back right, and that's a good thing that people need to learn.
Very well put.
I hope that strategy works just as well for your
family.
Yeah,
no, I mean we're definitely mindful of every single bit of the raising part of being a parent, just because that's our responsibility, and that's essentially like our investment into her is going to yield her a good life, is the way that we see it. But yeah, in the more research that people kept doing, and like you look at the alcohol business, and then the what is it, alcohol,
cigarettes,
pharma, cigarettes, and cotton, like 4 massive industries that say lobbies. This is illegal because of what it is.
Oh, no, it's worse. It's the private prison. The private prison industry is one of the biggest funders of marijuana, anti-marijuana legislation, and the the corrections officer unions also donate to that because that's their business.
Yeah.
It's farming people, which is the incentives. I love capitalism and stuff, but there's something wrong with that incentive there. They're not matching. I'll tell you a funny story about weed. Okay, so this is going to sound really weird. I smoked my first bit of weed at 27 years old, so very old.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, I did not listen to music, period.
At all?
At
Just
all.
Too much?
I couldn't feel it.
Okay.
I literally, people be like, oh, these beats, they're syncopated. I can feel it. It gives me goosebumps, and it's this emotional connection. And I'd be like, yeah, I can see there's a pattern. I couldn't feel it.
Yeah.
It wasn't there. People thought I was insane.
Yeah.
I was told that I was soulless and broken and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The very first night I smoked weed, whatever part of my brain that was dead,
yeah,
I heard just like a little song, and I could like feel that for the first time.
What song? Do you remember the song?
No, I have no idea. It's like a commercial. It's just like something on TV.
Like a tune.
I think I was watching Pineapple Express, and it was like the background music or just something like that.
Yeah.
But that part of my brain turned on. And what's interesting is it's actually stayed on. And now in my 30s, I can explore music, because before that was just dead.
Yeah.
And I have no explanation for that, but it was a very positive change for me.
Yeah. I mean, the human brain alone is going to be like one of the most interesting things that we'll ever study, right? Because it's just a ball of mush.
Yes. Complexity beyond every bit of electronics that you could put together in this room. And we think of brains like a processor, like the logic gates that we built on, off, yes, no, but they're not. They're a neuron will fire and respond in a pattern to another neuron to communicate a complex signal that's not a yes, no logic gate.
Yeah.
And there's billions of those, millions of those going on, making, instead of writing in binary, it would be like writing the brain code in what is it, base 20 or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say trinary to sound smart, but I knew that it wasn't a thing. Okay, god damn it.
It could be. That's kind of what quantum is. Quantum's effectively trinary.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4 because quad.
You've got extra dimensions you can run results through.
Well, the same thing sort of, going back to the plant, like up until this point, for the last 3 years, people have actually started to study the plant, right? Because universities were the only ones that had access to just like wild grown fucking plants.
I was there. It was the University of Mississippi.
Okay.
That's Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go to that when I went to Mississippi State, but I would visit. And they were allowed to grow weed to give to like 5 patients that were grandfathered into the system.
Mm-hmm.
It was the saddest, most pitiful stuff you have ever seen in your life. They just grew it in a little field,
mm-hmm.
and it looked like, I don't know how to describe it. It looked like, you ever see pictures of weed from like 1960 and just maybe something that had been in grandpa's box for 40
mm-hmm.
years?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were researching.
Yeah. We call it the Chi-Town Brown.
Okay.
Because it's from CP and 5th. That's where we used to get ours. But yeah, it's now that you're able to develop it, now that you're able to sort of give it what it needs to be a truly, muscular plant is the only way that I can explain the flower. Now you're going to be able to truly study the effects. You're going to be able to dissect and remove and sort of separate different parts of it. Now you have the separation of the CBD and the THC. The delta 8s, the fucking terpenes, and
delta 8's everywhere now.
Yeah,
that's a big thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. We can study for the first time ever. People be like, "Is weed bad for you?" It's like, nobody really knows. Is it good for you? Maybe. Is there good studies on it? Not really.
No, because it's illegal. How can you make a study on something that you're not supposed to be in possession of, right? And
Exactly.
and when you do, it's so overlooked. Not overlooked. It's so heavily criticized by the government to say it has to come from Earth, right? Not lights, no, hydroponics the way that they do it. None of the essential things that make a good flower. So, I mean, you see it being more potent than ever, right?
That's like studying golden wheat versus wild wheat and switchgrass.
Exactly. So now that we're sort of entering that level, now that it's being legalized, and I mean, I think we're up to like 14 states now.
Fully legal, like recreational?
Yeah, recreational.
Something like that. But then if you look at medical, it's even more. I think it's only 20 to 25% of Americans live in a state where they can't buy marijuana. And, you were in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the reddest state on the planet. For those of you that are watching, Oklahoma was like 60+% Republican this time. Oklahoma is more red than Texas by a big margin. And they're like, weed money, good. Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, it is, right? It's anyway, the way that I saw it is, look, there's a problem with pharmaceuticals, right? There's a problem with the amount of kids that are being, sort of given Adderall, given what's the other one for kids that they do? Holly mentioned it.
Ritalin, probably.
Ritalin, thank you. That's the one. And then depression, take some Xanax, go to sleep.
Oh, I can tell you a story about that.
Please.
Very negative one, so get ready.
Oh, I'm fucking ready.
So, 3 or 4 years ago, I got diagnosed with depression. Went to go see a psychiatrist. He's like, all right, man, we're going to put you on Zoloft. Zoloft is a SSRI. It's a serotonin receptor inhibitor. It's, and you read the medical literature about it, and it's like, it's not so bad. Side effects mild, no aberrations in thought, easy to get onto and off of, whatever. Okay. And I'd go see the psychiatrist, and I'd tell him, like, basically every month I go to California, I'm going to smoke weed. And he's like, don't. It'll destroy your mind. It'll hurt you. You got to stop this. And I'm like, ignore it. Don't deal with that. And then I had to make a trip somewhere else, and I lapsed 4 days on my Zoloft. Now, this is the kind of medication that you cannot just get off of, and it's also the kind that when you get off of, you can't get back onto.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to get all my thoughts together. So I took 4 days off on accident because I just left my pills at home. Could not get back onto it and suffered for like 3 months. I go back to the doctor, and the doctor's like, okay, well, it's probably your fault for smoking weed. And also, I want to like triple your dose. We had a big falling out there in the office. I refused to take anymore. He would not refill my prescription, so I had to quit this medication cold turkey. And he wrote me up in the medical report for the state of Texas as a drug addict. So I am now classified for insurance in the state of Texas in the same tier as like heroin and meth users. So my rates are lovely.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any more medication, so I had to quit Zoloft cold turkey. And I will just tell you, anybody at home, that is the worst experience you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I barely remember those 6 months. It was pain incarnate. Any of the problems that I've felt more recently, weird, dramatic stuff in my life, nothing compared to that. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, okay, so the doctor's totally okay cutting me out high and dry on a medication. If you go read people's personal stories and not the medical literature, it's like, my wife killed herself. My partner was never the same. My 13-year-old kid threw himself in front of a bus, and just stuff like this coming off the medication. The system was totally okay with just cutting me off and screwing up my insurance. But you best not smoke that pot now. Bad, bad, bad.
How is it that I mean, obviously, money is a huge driver in business, and I too love capitalism, right? But when it gets to the point where it's not common sense, then I start having a little bit of a problem, and it's like I sort of fight within myself as to like, why don't we fight this a little bit like harder, right? And you get out and vote, and eventually it'll get there. Like Texas just like allowed the second medical treatment clinic.
Yes.
In the state ever. And I'm like, okay, so we're at least moving in the right direction. Plano, where you're from, there was news that came out that said that they are now not decriminalizing it at all, but they're going to be easier on anyone that's found with under an ounce, I think.
Part of that's also COVID. They're trying to have their officers like less face-to-face time with people. So if it's not something serious, they're not going to send officers out and make them get sick.
Yeah. Yeah, like, dude, did someone smoking a joint in that garage? Who's around him? No one. What's he doing? Smoking a joint. Where? I don't know, in this little corner. Okay, let me send 7 SWAT cars to make sure that he doesn't smoke and get
Plano
high.
Used to be that way like 10 years ago.
Yeah, like that serious?
They were serious because Plano in the 90s had a prescription drug problem. So in the early 2010s, they cracked down really hard on all drugs.
Yeah. I think that just like, and look, obviously, like this isn't the answer, but if they gave you a license, if you had a license to smoke, right? If somebody said to me, all right, check this out. Here's your home. This little square that you see here, call it Amnesty International. You can do anything there except murder or harm other people. If you want to do anything in that square, in that cage even, put yourself in a cage to smoke a joint. Like, the people would do it. Like, I would do it. Because if I'm in the back of my house, in my big backyard, no one's fucking around me, there's walls fucking everywhere, I'm inside a cage smoking a fucking joint.
I'm just imagining you in like a little like human-sized bird cage.
Yes,
like the girls in the clubs and you're just sitting there.
Just smoking a joint.
Yeah. It's like one of those weird clubs. It's like you go to the casino in the UK and it's like, oh, where are the girls at? And it's just you sitting there in a little Speedo smoking a joint.
No, big
and
Speedo.
your Amnesty. Oh, yeah.
Thong.
Of course. Yes.
Thong Speedo backwards. But yeah, I just that whole that whole just conversation around it is just asinine to me, and I understand it, right? Like, but Texas is like so in tune with capitalism, and they're so all about the money, so much so that we almost had a fucking catastrophe with our electrical grids.
Yes,
right.
I got plenty of fun times with that. I'm sure you did too.
No, we didn't, because the hospital's here, and by my house there's another hospital, so we were on that grid, so we were protected. We have electricity.
Same here. I was by a hospital.
Okay.
So like didn't lose any electricity or anything, but we didn't think it was going to be bad, so we didn't buy much food.
Oh no.
So it was like 5 days of mac and cheese.
Yeah.
But that's nothing compared to people that lost their houses or flooding. And the reason was to save money, which really meant to pass money on to the companies because it's a capitalist state. But then they do weirdly like anti-capitalist things with marijuana and other like sticking points. Like, okay, so the state had the trans bathroom issue like 6 years ago, and they sued the Obama administration and spent like $100 million and forewent like billions of dollars of funding for schools in order to ensure that the bathrooms stay the Texas way, which I guess, I'm trying to get my words right, that's just pissing money away. That's absurd. Do stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. I obviously can sit here for hours talking about it. I'm actually going to do one of the next Eavesdrop podcasts is going to be with some people from Union Electric. They're already a well-established brand in the cannabis industry. They're the ones that are sort of helping me, they are the ones that are helping me bring me to market. And I'm gonna just ask as many questions as I can. I'm learning through all this process, right? Like, because it is an industry that has a lot of rules, and there's so many people that are still in jail because of it, while I'm about to have this like massive business around it. So for me, it's like, how do I make sure that I enter the space from a respectable, from a respect manner, and then once we start sort of, getting the business up and running, how do I allocate some of those resources to help the people that have been incarcerated for a fucking joint, or anything under an ounce, or anything under 2 ounces, anything under a fucking pound, for self-use, right? Not distribution, right? Not distribution to kids, not distribution to fucking anyone. It's just, I had a pound of weed for myself. I'm not, like, how do you do that? It got to the point in Chicago back in the day where I kept my stash before it was legal. I moved right the year before they legalized it, but I used to go to the point, to the extent of writing on my bag for personal use of Hector Rodriguez, not for distribution. And then I would fucking, like, my little baggie, I would sign.
You gotta have a backup plan.
Yeah, man. It's ridiculous that the amount of loopholes that people have to go through to self-medicate on something that was, earth-born. And
something with minimal side effects, but cortisone, oxycodone, hydrocodone, amphetamine-based products, man, you can get those easy. Go to the doctor. My back hurts.
Yeah, and it's all there. If you're a kid, I can't concentrate. Take this. Or
so my parents did that to me too. I was a bad kid in school, obviously bad home environment. And this is the 90s, so there was none of this consequences for medication. So they were like, here's an antipsychotic drug for adults. I'm sure your 9-year-old will be fine with it.
Yeah.
Marijuana would have been less harmful.
Yeah, I mean, it's still too early in my opinion, but still, it would have been less harmful for sure. It doesn't fuck up your liver. It doesn't fuck up your intestines. It doesn't go through it. I mean, your lungs, there has to be a little bit of
non-addictive too.
Non-addictive.
Or, I mean, there are people I know that get emotionally addicted. People that just, that's more like a different problem.
Yeah.
It's not like cigarettes when you don't, you get shaky when you don't smoke and stuff.
Yeah. The other thing is that, again, the plant has the ability to be an upper or a calmer, right? So if the one thing was making him shake or emotionally addicted to it in a sense, try a different one. There's so many strains out there. The invention of what is about to happen in this space is just fucking incredible.
No, and you're about to get in early.
Yeah. I you know what? I wish
it's still early.
Yeah, you know what? I wish I would have done it a year earlier. I do think that I was a year late for what I wanted to do in it. Maybe it's me being impatient and like wanting to tell everybody the brand. I'll show you after. But I just think that from everything that I want to do, from a content perspective, from like everything that I'm treating this the way that I treat every single one of my other businesses, right? Like it's a media driven business, content to commerce. If people are entertained, they're going to be more willing to be happy with you as they enjoy something with you.
Oh, the FOMO is hurting me so bad. That was like literally what I had in my head. I was thinking about, and
maybe you and I should go to LA. I don't know, call it once a month, and then we do a podcast together.
That'd be so fun.
Right? Tell me, would it be?
That would be super fun.
Like Josefo was sitting behind the camera today because Maddie had some personal stuff that he had to handle. I've been working Maddie like to the bone, so shout out to him and thank you, Josefo. So Josefo and I, he's gonna be coming on this journey with me, filming, documenting, and sort of going through the process. We're trying to launch in July.
That's fast. That's soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this has been like a long process, and
Sure.
the thing about it is, I didn't know how it was going to go. It was going to be like, I'm in the gaming industry in a sense, but I know that my fans have grown up with me and they didn't grow up in a place or a time where it was, super vilified. In fact, like there's states that are super legal in scenarios like that. So I was a little bit, the second that I sent tweet, I like sent it out into the internet,
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit nervous for about 10 seconds.
Yeah, got a lot of positive response, but you said something that caught my attention. You think you're in the gaming industry?
No. Yes. Sort of. Yes.
I disagree.
Okay.
You're in your own industry. You're in the industry of you. You're
Mhm.
a personality. You in yourself are a brand. Not gaming is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
It's where you came
Yeah,
from.
that's right.
But you're in the broader influencer, your probably proper entertainment industry, and it doesn't.
We're not
always,
gaming right now, right?
No, we're not gaming right. It doesn't always have to be gaming. You have the luxury of. You are in the industry of HECZ and what you want, and your fans are there for you, and you have that luxury of exploring almost any avenue.
Yeah. The thing is, and the fear for me was, right, because I checked in with fucking everybody that I respect in the space. You know what I mean? I hit up my sponsors and I said, look, it's not going to be an optic thing, right? It's going to be a HECTOR thing. That's being an entrepreneur, sees an opportunity here and that. And then I hit up everybody that I do business with. I hit up and I'm like, hey, how are you going to see me if I do this? Would this bother you, et cetera? And not a single fucking person was like 100% no. One dude was like, I could see why it would be a problem with like maybe blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, I already talked to blah blah blah, and he's like, all right, cool, then yeah, I don't see anything. But the only one person that had hesitance was because of other people that are in the business. So, as soon as that launched and it became what it became, like I was super happy and comfortable in it because I do want to be respectful of the relationship that I've developed with the people that have followed me for a long time. So it was a little bit of a leap of faith. Would that reaction happen the same way last year or previous year? I don't know.
Maybe last year or the previous year, but 5 years ago?
No,
6?
Definitely not. No,
wasn't going to happen at all.
No. So no, I'm excited about it, and I'm sure that we can collaborate on something cool.
Absolutely. I'm excited for you.
Thank you, man.
I hope that you just absolutely slay.
Hey, look, you don't go out there and own the Marlboro of the cannabis industry by not trying.
Exactly. You got to try.
I mean?
You got to shoot your shot.
You got to shoot your shot.
That's what's been happening with investments lately, too.
Yeah.
Gamers have realized that the stock market's a game. So you've got tons of teenagers and young adults out there shooting their shot, and some missing and some hitting big.
Are you into the crypto stuff?
More recently. So I'm a clown.
Okay, hold on. I want to get into it, but
Okay.
I'm going to say hello to the sponsors really quickly because I think we hit the half-hour mark. We'll be right back. Curology coming back for, I believe, a second time. And look, obviously, look at the skin, right? 41 years old, not a wrinkle inside, unless I smile. But if I smile, you see them because I've had such a good time in life that I've nothing but smile. So every single one of these was earned hard with a little bit of a good time. And look, everybody has been sort of not really taking care of their skin. Like, we all want to take care of our skin, but how many of us actually take the time to do the research, right? We just don't know where to start. And if you're looking for something simple that works without being complicated, well, then you have to get Curology. All right, Curology makes skincare effortless. They create a custom skincare formula for your skin goals. Plus, you've got a cleanser and moisturizer that are easy on your skin and super easy to use. It takes literally less than 15 seconds for you to wash your face right before you go to bed. Wash your face, or, you know, in the shower while you're showering before you get your day started, right? Everything ships right to your door, and you'll find 30 days, the first 30 days for free. You just cover the $5 of shipping and handling, and the rest is getting taken care of for you, right? Sign up for Curology in minutes, right? By sharing your skin type and skin goals, a licensed provider can create a custom formula made for you, like the one personalized formula that is strictly just for you. Whether you're struggling with acne, dark spots, or just want something simple and straightforward, Curology is where you need to go. They are a dermatology provider, right? They are the ones that put you in contact with the people that are going to get this done for you, right? They've also got some other amazing products that you can add to your subscription, and, you know, an acne body wash for the back, for all of you who have like acne on your back or your chest. Like, this helps. That's the acne body wash, and then we have the emergency spot patches, so you can do it up or keep it simple, right? For us, it's for me, it was obviously super simple, right? I logged in, gave my information, I had everything shipped over here to the HECTOR, that way I can just grab from here, take it to my house, and make it part of my daily routine. Same way as brushing my teeth, right? And if you're ready for healthier skincare today and want a routine that makes sense for you, do what I did. Give Curology a go. Go to Curology.com/HECZ, H3CZ, for a free 30-day trial. Just pay for shipping, as I just mentioned before. Just pay for shipping and handling, and that's it. Curology.com/H3CZ to unlock your 30-day trial for free. All right, I'm going to give it to you one more time, just in case you didn't catch it. Curology.com/HECZ, and get your face right, get your body right. Get it started, and there's nothing shameful. Look, a lot of things, like a lot of men are just like, I'm manly. You know, I'm manly. I'm supposed to look a certain way. No. You'll regret it in the end. From the time I was a young buckaroo, I always took care of my skin. It's a fact. We have DOORDASH coming back for, I mean, man, they are just like the premier sponsor at this point of the Eavesdrop podcast. So whether you forgot that you had an extra meeting on a certain day, so you forgot that you had to go to the grocery store and get what you were missing, look, that is neither here or there, because what DOORDASH does is it allows you to order your food, and it allows you to order food from 300,000 restaurants across the United States, Puerto Rico, and Australia. Right? Did you forget that one thing at the store? Well, guess what? Now you can also get snacks, drinks, and household essentials in 30 minutes with DOORDASH. Dinner? Check. Deodorant? Check. Morning pick-me-up from Dunkin'? Check. Everything that you need whenever you need it with DOORDASH. I don't know who it was, but somebody told me that they have their day so planned out that they order a coffee from Dunkin' Donuts from home, and by the time they get to work, they more often than not meet up at the entrance with the guy that's delivering their food. Super clever, by the way. You want Chinese, you want pizza, you know, someone's craving froyo, there's something for everyone at DOORDASH. A new year means new you. Sure it does. But in case it does, when it comes to your craving, maybe that's still the old you. So order your favorites or try something new from DOORDASH. Look, DOORDASH connects you to the restaurants that you love right now and right to your door. And now you can get grocery essentials that you need also with DOORDASH, right? Get drinks, snacks, and other household items delivered to you within the hour. Ordering is easy. You open the DOORDASH application, choose what you want from where you want it, and your items will be left safely outside of your door with a new contactless delivery drop-off setting. With over 300,000 restaurants, as I mentioned before, you can go to your local favorites or the national restaurants like Popeyes, shout out Popeyes, Chipotle, and the Cheesecake Factory, right? For a limited time right now, our listeners can get 25% off. 25% off. Listen to this one, because it's not the same as last podcast. This time around, you can get 25% off and zero delivery fees on the first order of $15 or more when you download the DOORDASH application and enter code Eavesdrop 2021. That's 25% off, up to a $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash application in the App Store and enter code EAVESDROP. That's Eavesdrop, like the podcast, 2021. Don't forget, that's Eavesdrop 2021 for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subjects, are subject to change, as all things are. And last but not least, we have Canva. They sponsor the Optic podcast, and now they're sponsoring the Eavesdrop podcast. So shout out to them. What is Canva Pro? Well, Canva Pro is an easy-to-use design platform that has everything you need to design like a professional. Whether you're a professional designer or just getting started, Canva Pro can help you boost your team's productivity and creativity. It's quick and easy and affordable. And it's a way for you to design whatever you need. No matter what you're creating and sharing, Canva Pro has everything you need in one place, including a collection of over 75 million premium photos, videos, and audio graphics. Canva Pro comes with time-saving tools that simplify and speed up the creative process. You get this and more in just one Canva Pro subscription. It makes me want to start vlogging again to make Maddie try this out and get his own creative thing on. My favorite having said that, my favorite Canva Pro features are obviously the ones that allow me to edit my photos to upload to Instagram. I've even taken photos and edited them enough to just make them look cooler for the story. That's just me. I'm a creative person. I like to do everything overkill when it comes to the creative process and making things look cool. There's no idea too big or too small for Canva Pro, whether it was me editing that photograph or me editing a video or a commercial as we did earlier this year. Won't say which one, but we used everything and all the tools that are provided to you with Canva. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get free 45-day extended trial when you use my promo code. What does that mean? You can literally launch a business, your design business, 45 days for free using everything that they provide for you. Once that's done, then you pay your subscription fee and then you continue on with your business. Look, it's never been an easier time for you to start a business or do something as a side hustle that you like doing. So Canva is here for you in situations like that. So right now, as I was saying, you get your first 45 days for free, the extended trial when you use my promo code. Just go to canva.com.me/H3CZ to get free 45 days extended trial. That's canva.me/H3CZ, canva.me/HECZ. Back to Drift0r. And we're back. So again, huge shout out to Curology, DoorDash, and Canva. DoorDash has been like my best friend during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. Like it's so easy for me to be like, all right, I gotta be home at 6. I'm like, I text you, did you guys eat anything? No. I'm like, what do you guys want? Order it here. By the time I get home, hang out for like 15 minutes and boom, it's there.
You're speaking directly into my soul. It's the same thing. Like ideally in my head, I would like to just go get the food or sit down and eat, but there's so many days I'm so busy. It's nice to where it's just there basically as soon as I get home.
Yeah.
Or I just deliver for my wife or family or friends or whatever, and I use it every day. It's a super it's literally magic. Think about this.
Yes.
If you were a wizard in D&D, you would do a summoning spell for a minute.
Dungeons and Dragons.
And you'd spend some mana and poof, your food would appear.
Yes.
What you really do is spend $20 and you wait your 20 minutes and your food appears. It's like
exact same thing.
Magic.
Yeah, I agree. We are spoiled in this day and age. All right, so back to the crypto stuff. Recently, you started to get into?
I got into it a while back, but I'm a big clown on this one. So I got into Bitcoin. I made a little bit of money. Had that 18K. It was looking great, and then it bottomed out. It was terrible. It went back up to 18K in November, and I'm like, I'm out at break-even money.
Yeah.
Ha! Joke's on me.
60 now.
It still gives me a heart attack just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I had I don't even know how many Ethereum tokens I had when they were worth nothing. I was like, this is going nowhere. I'm going to chunk all this. But I did do really good on Dogecoin. I spent $95 on Dogecoin.
You have a Shiba Inu, right?
2 of them, yeah.
2 of them.
Oh, so the Dogecoin thing's amazing. So
yeah.
It made like $4,000 off $95. It was a stupid investment.
Yeah.
But since I'm invested in it, I can make content around Dogecoin.
Yes.
And the Doge is at the house. So that's pets and finance.
Yes.
And do a lot of shorts, a lot of tweets. And you'd write like, Dogecoin, cryptocurrency, Shiba Inu, funny thing, and every crypto.com and Webull and eToro like put ads on this video, do it right now. I'm making more money off of making money about Dogecoin, making videos about Dogecoin, and actually investing in it.
I mean, think about the world that we live in where that is a fucking reality.
It's a job. It's not just me. There's other people out there working hard at the same thing.
Of course, but just think about it, right? Anything that you're interested in or you're passionate about, you can create content around them. There's millions of people that are also into that. And if you resonate or you relate to them, like, then you have a job that's fun.
Exactly. And the best way to do that is to be yourself, to do things that you're interested in, that you're passionate about, because you're probably not a total unique snowflake out there in the world. If there's something that you're interested in, there's probably a few million other people that are. And when they see that you have that same passion for it, like you said, it resonates perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Josef always says, is like, do this because of the finance. Like, we were going to do this, the world's most expensive taco that I've ever bought. Okay. And the reason that it was going to be, actually, I'm not going to say it, right? No, I'm not gonna say it because I am gonna make it. So let's just. It's gonna be a good one.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. It's gonna be super good. All right. So tell me, right? Obviously, you go into your gaming stuff. You're having this good career. You've been around. Like, the longevity in your career is admirable, man. Because think about the amount of people that grew up in our class of early 2010. That are no longer around, or they sort of took a break at the wrong time, and it just like were never able to recover. How do you do it for this long and continue to stay relevant the way that you have?
If I knew the answer to that question, I'd be doing more of that relevancy thing. You're actually interviewing me when my whole channel's on the struggle bus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But Twitter's doing amazing. I love Twitter.
Same.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
Maybe a better off-camera conversation.
Yeah.
I've stayed relevant because I have people that depend on me and people that I care about, and I don't have the luxury of not being relevant. You have a family too.
Yep.
You understand not having the luxury of taking time off.
Yep.
When it's not just you. I can be lazy and I can deal with less, but not everybody that I care about can do that. Some of them need things. So I worked really hard for that. And the longevity is a scary thing, as you mentioned. It's been hitting me recently. I've been doing videos for 10 or 11 years now. Do you know what the average burnout time for a creator is? From nobody to famous to totally burned out.
No.
3 years.
Jesus.
That's the average. So I'm triple past my expiration date.
Same then. I still haven't hit 1 million subs. I mean, I'm almost there. Guys, if you guys are watching, fucking subscribe, goddammit. Shit, look, there's a date on that, on the million gold button plaque. I don't know if you can see. It's August of like 18 maybe? Yeah, August 13th of 2018, day before Optic Day. But I'm still here. You know what I mean? Like I do it. It's a job. I get paid, but I love doing this thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just love creating. That's my thing.
Isn't this more fun than a regular job, an office job? Well, this is an office. Sort of.
Yeah. Well, listen, we had a conversation on the Optic podcast that we talked about burnout. One of the questions was something about burnout, and I said, I don't have the luxury to burn out. And what I mean by that, well, I do, but I don't. So what I mean by that is that I, like the construction workers that are doing that right now, or the electrician, or the fireman, or the cop, or you name anyone that's not in the gaming industry, entertainment industry, they don't have the luxury of burning out. It's like, oh man, I burnt out of fucking hammering nails all day long on top of this roof. If you burn out, you don't put food on the table.
Exactly.
Right? So that's where I'm like when people ask me, like, how don't you burn out? I'm like, I don't give that that's not an option for me, right? Like, that's not an option. I have a responsibility to not only myself and my family, but also to the millions of people that would love to be in the position that I'm in. So therefore, I have to honor my position in this very blessed space.
It is.
To say, I'm going to give it my all every single day. And I'm in here every single day.
So I have a question for you then. How do you deal with toxicity when it comes your way? Because I agree that we're both blessed in a lot of ways, but the internet is not always a nice place. How do you deal with that?
I think I deal with it differently. I just don't open Twitter when it's bad. You know what I mean? Like the other thing is, like, I have to do the Drift0r and sort of step aside and be like, all right, how many people are talking shit to me about a game that my players lost that I didn't do anything in there, right? I have to say, it's like, well, they just don't know any better, right? Like, they just don't know. And I can't be insulted for my team having a bad day or like a bad competitive day because I wasn't in there to play with them. I know that they're practicing their asses off. I know that they're doing the right things. I know that I'm giving them anything they need. Competition is competition. You win some, you lose some, right? I've done this shit for 10 years. For me to sit here and, like, pretend like this is the last time we'll ever lose, makes no sense to me. Like and the 15 people that are talking shit to me, I have 15,000 that are gonna have my back on like, yo, we get it, we're adults, it's competition. So I sometimes do let myself go, and if somebody catches me on the wrong time, I will tweet back. And sometimes I go for the neck. Sometimes I give a light jab, and sometimes it's banter with people that I get along with. But if it's like somebody that I've never talked to and they say something, then obviously I'm gonna respond. Like I'm from the '90s. I don't have like the etiquette that millennials nowadays have of like, hey, don't be mean. I can be mean to you, but you can't be mean to me.
But that's a bad look. So I have this same problem. People talk shit to me all the time, right? And I'll pick like one Dumbo a week.
Yeah.
Just say something really mean, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're cyberbullying."
Yeah. No, look, cyberbullying is a thing, as you and I know, right? We
both probably had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. What, being the bully, you mean?
No, on the receiving end.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So yeah, look, I just don't deal with it.
Then a different question for you.
Yeah.
What do you do? So your job is being creative. You've got the luxury. You're doing creative with business, branding, esports, entertainment. What we're doing. How do you deal with days when you're not feeling it? You're not superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are days that you wake up and you are devoid of ideas. It is blank and you have no idea what to do for that day and that future, and you have people wanting that. Where do you dig deep and find that inside of you to create something on a rough day like that?
Man, I don't think that look, my pain points have always been the business side of this thing. Like as much as I like to consider myself a good business guy, I'm not good with the spreadsheets and the back office sort of thing, right? So for me, creating is like my end goal, right? Which is what I do every single day. But sometimes, like for example, my vlog where I used to vlog daily, like I don't do that anymore because I mentally can't do that while at the same time having to take, like yesterday, Josefo will attest to this, I was in here from 9 and then I got home at like 9:30 because from 9 o'clock to 10 I had a meeting, from 10 to 11 I had a meeting, then I had an interview for something that we're doing from 11 to 1, 8 in between there, and then from 2 to 7 I had a meeting on a different topic that lasted 4 fucking hours, just going over a bunch of shit, right? So in days like that, it's like, how do I film that? Like, yeah, people would like to see that, but for how long and how much information are they truly going to get out of the situation? So in days where I don't have the creative outlet, I'm very lucky to say that I'm around creative people all around. Like, you are an independent content creator that sort of is left to his own devices and whatever ideas he gets off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Where me, I can come in here into this like sort of brain trust or creative brain trust and say, what are we doing today? So Sefo came up with a good podcast name for me for the marijuana business, and then I got Matt over there coming up with ideas for what we're gonna do on my second channel. My main channel is just this for now, but I don't care because I love doing it. And for the rest of the stuff, like, we have Roger and everybody else that throws their ideas on the table, right?
And you're blessed. You've made a team you've made a support staff.
I have, luckily, man, and good ones too, right? Like I worked with Josefo like long ago, and I knew that one day we would work together. And I always have my eyes open, right, to talent. And when I see it and the opportunity arises, then we do. Speaking of Roger, he's right there. So yeah, I'm never out of ideas as much as I'm out of time to execute on the ideas.
I can empathize with that so much. I thought that with COVID and doing Zoom meetings and stuff, life would actually get more convenient, because now it's getting less, because everybody wants to do a Zoom meeting, and it's always a PowerPoint presentation, and it's always something I could just read in 5 minutes, and I hate it, and it's draining. So I'm independent. I don't have your staff and office. I do have people that work for me and people that I've hired, editors, thumbnails, that kind of stuff, because I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Still do some of my own editing and stuff, but you need help sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I totally lost where I was going with this one.
Well, you asked me about ideas, and I said that you sort of worked on yourself and you have like brain trust and all that. The other thing is, like, sometimes when I was doing the vlogs, I would let Matt edit them, but sometimes I'd be like, yo, I'm editing this one because like I want it to look a certain way. So I would take that away from him, and then he would just go find something else to do. So the creative part of that like has always been there, right? Like I'm an artist. I grew up a graffiti writer, and
I've seen.
Yeah, thank you for saying that you've seen it, I guess. I'm just kidding. So as this thing's going on, I'm starting to realize that, creativity and vision for what the future is, and like the way that I envision esports and entertainment being in the future, like that's where I want to work, right? So in situations like that, I have to be mindful of the fact that I can work on the business that's going to yield, financial results sooner than what I should be working on today from a content perspective to bring it back.
That helped me regain my thread.
I knew that if I talked about anything,
I was gonna say, it's the same problem I have. Different scale, different stuff, but I have all this business stuff, and I'll do like 6 business things. Guys at home making content is not sit in front of the computer 15 minutes. You got a great game, bang, upload, done. So much stuff going on behind the scenes. You have to kind of be a jack of all trades. And I'll get up and I'll work, and I'll do like 5, 4, all these business things, and I'll look up and it'll be like 7 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I feel like crap. Now I have to make a video. Oh God, that's a really challenging thing to do.
Yeah.
I've got friends that help, but it's different than staff.
Yeah, no, I bet. Well, you're right down the street, man. If you ever feel like coming by here and fucking shooting the shit or hanging out, creating content, like please just shoot me a text. We're always here.
I keep that in mind.
Let's talk a little bit more about your affinity for tech.
Okay.
Please. How do you where in your brain does the thing lie where you say, all right, 1, 2, 3 screws. I need this kind of head. Boom, boom. Put it apart, and then you see a motherboard. What do you see?
I see you giving me too much credit. So I don't think I'm as good with tech as people say that I am.
Okay.
I can pick it apart. And as a weird magical side story, I have for my entire life what's called invisible tech gremlins. If I touch something, it will break, and I have to fix it. I could not tell you the amount of times I've been in a call and I've had, like, since I'm lucky to be me, I can get like a developer or a hardware engineer, and they'll be like, I've never heard of this problem before. I remember one time I was having a VR problem. I had the game developer, the guy that wrote the capture software, and the guy that helped build the headset all in the call, and they're like, how did you break this? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So not that great with tech.
Okay.
But I did go to engineering school.
Okay.
Did 5 years of engineering school, mechanical engineering. It's like the most basic generic crash course in every science on the planet.
Yeah.
With a little specialty in how things fail and how they work. So with something like a laptop, what I would do is I would look at it and I immediately start scanning, like kind of like a doctor or investor, whatever your skill set is. You start scanning for flaws, easy, obvious things to fix. Well, if the screw's in the wrong place, then it's going to put too much bending pressure. It's going to weaken over time. You got to look for puffery in the marketing. You have to compare this number to that and make sure that they're not scaling. Like what TVs like to do is like 2 millisecond response time. And they'll try to market that as 2 millisecond video input delay. And those are totally different numbers, but they look the same because they use the same unit. So you have to constantly read and learn. And with sponsors and stuff, what's always worked best on my channel is actually kind of being mean to them. I don't know if you saw, but 2 days ago, yesterday, I was reviewing gaming glasses, and there's like, these are ultra durable. So I just ran them over with my car to see how durable they really are, and oddly, they survived.
Really?
Yeah, it's insane. But you really want to pick a thing apart and see what it's good at and what it's bad at, and that's always worked well for my audience. I don't know where that lives in my brain exactly, but it's the most honest approach, and it helps people make their decisions better, because most marketing videos on YouTube or reviews are like, this is amazing, this is great, this has no flaws. When it's much more helpful to just show the whole thing. Here's the screen, it's this big, weighs this much, I could probably break it if I did this, it'll do this really well, this other thing maybe not so much. And I don't know, I think I'm just explaining what I'm doing instead of why I'm doing it.
You're unboxing your unboxings.
Yeah.
Which is good. I just think that every single time that I've seen you've identified like the amount of Call of Duty professionals that sort of like tune into what you're saying about certain weapons. Like there's a lot of them. I don't know if you know this.
J-God took my job this year.
Who did?
J-God.
J-God.
You haven't seen J-God?
I have not seen J-God.
He's on a hot streak like nobody I've ever seen in my life. He's doing great. He's a great person, not mad, not jealous or anything. I'm just getting blown away. It used to just be me. Now it's like 4 or 5 people doing guide videos. I got to up my game.
Put
me down.
Yeah, I have brand loyalty, so I'm loyal to the Drift0r brand. So going back into the content stuff, did you ever create content about your ghost experiences? Like,
yeah,
you have?
Yeah. I did a whole series.
Before that, because I have it written down right here.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk about ghosts. Keep me on track for the ghost. You uploaded a video to fucking Twitter where one of your dogs,
yes,
like caught in here's where the fight starts. An opossum or a possum? How do you say it?
A possum.
Okay, tell me that story because that shit was fucking wild.
I think it happened twice. I think we only posted it once. We're living in Plano, lots of critters, possums, raccoons, little varmints, whatever. And I'm just minding my own business, editing away, and I hear my dog going crazy in the backyard. Open the door, possum runs in, dog runs in, they start fighting, they start going crazy on each other.
So the possum ran into your house from the outside?
Yes, and the dog chomp, dragged it back down.
So grabbed them and kicked them out of the house?
And killed it, and then I found there's like 6 baby possums. But then the possum didn't die, it played possum. It got back up, so we were able to return it later. But the idea is like, I have a cute dog fighting an animal that it can't kill because it's going to play possum.
Yeah.
Like, this is content.
Wait, so I never knew that they play dead.
Yeah, possums play dead. You never heard playing possum?
No.
If a possum breaks in your house and you kick it and make a bunch of noise, it's going to go, eh. Heart rate will go down. Its muscles will tense. You can take it and you can stab it and it won't move. It's like a involuntary nervous response. It'll loosen up like 4 hours later. Like when
sharks get flipped upside down.
Mm-hmm. It'll loosen up a couple hours later and be fine. They're really hardy little animals. You almost can't kill them sometimes.
Holy shit, I did not know that. All right, continue with the story.
And the dog just, it's a suburban house dog. It's a cute pet. It thinks it's a godless killing machine. It's not. It's like, I got it. Defeated the possum, protected the house.
Yeah.
And we managed to keep the babies safe. We kept them in the house and kept them alive until we could return them later to the nest. And that's pretty much the whole story.
Yeah.
The dog has caught squirrels and all sorts of stuff. The dog has been farmed for content. I had the dog since the Tesla can autopilot.
Yeah.
You have Teslas or drive them? You know, you can drive the car from your phone. Like, you have little controls on your phone. You can drive the car.
I did not know that.
So we went to Burger Street in Plano, and we tipped handsomely to be able to film more inside the kitchen. Put the dog in the driver's seat, use the phone controls to send the dog through the drive-thru to buy a burger, and make content like that. And when the Cybertruck comes out, it's going to be DOGE driving the Cybertruck and the same kind of thing. That's
so smart, because fucking DOGE, fucking Tesla, what's his name? Elon.
Yes. That's
so cool. Man, there's I don't want to get into the crypto stuff because I'm not super knowledgeable on it, so I won't. All right. Ghosts.
Okay. I have a whole series of videos on my channel about ghosts. Growing up in that bad environment, for whatever reason, I've seen ghosts since I have memories. Much less so as an adult.
Yeah.
Looking back, what I genuinely believe is that it was an adaptation to a bad environment, but I would see, hear, and talk to ghosts on a daily basis.
Okay.
Just like...
Tell me about the ones that you're talking to.
Oh, God. Usually horrible demons, monsters, things, trying to tell me things that I shouldn't hear or shouldn't know. Predictions about the future, oddly, all of which have come true so far.
Go on.
Well, I had one of them show me how everybody in my family is going to die.
Okay.
And so far, we're at 3 out of 5 predicted.
Really?
Yeah, I was 10 years old. Can't forget that.
No, you cannot.
Thought I saw a demon once in a door. This was a bizarre experience.
What did it look like?
It didn't.
Okay.
So it was a wood grain door. You know, you've got the wavy lines, right? And I looked at it, and it's like my brain was seeing something that wasn't there before, and it's like the lines started to wiggle, move just a little bit and make a new shape.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, they didn't move at all.
Okay.
And you're probably thinking, okay, like a predator or like an elite standing there.
Yeah.
Like it was more like my brain was opening up to see a pattern that wasn't there before. And then it just started talking all kind of crazy stuff.
In English?
Oh, yeah. In the head, of course.
Yeah.
Putting thoughts in there that weren't mine. It was weird. But
they kind of were, though, right? Because it's your brain?
I would like to think so. I'm not really into that stuff these days.
Okay, good.
God, I'd hear noises. I would see things. I'd so much stuff. I'd hear talking about the family stuff. So I used to live out in the country on a house that had a slave graveyard, and also a house where they had recently lost an infant. And we would hear Indian drums out in the forest at night. This is a private land. This is like 400 acres of just us. Nobody allowed in. Population density of nothing for hundreds of miles. And just outside the darkness, you'd hear bum, 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 like loud as hell every night. I used to think it was ghosts. It scared the shit out of me.
What was it?
It was my uncle trying to drive my mother crazy. Because he would tell her stories about ghost Indians and then go out in the woods and just bum, 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 all night, every night. He'd just sit out there and smoke weed and play drums.
Yeah, he played drums.
Try to drive us crazy. Oh, my God.
Was there ever an instance where you're like, that for sure was a fucking ghost?
Give me just a moment. Probably. These are things I try not to think about too much these days.
Yeah, no, trust me, if you don't want to talk, look, I hate even bringing it up.
Ghost stuff.
We're Mexican, so we are like anti talking about ghosts.
What is the best ghost story that I've got? The demon story is totally crazy. A ghost.
What about aliens?
Never seen an alien.
Believe in them?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say I heard an explosion in my wall. I was just minding my own business, and I just heard a. Hopefully, not gonna mess the mics up. Just like a. But it sounded like somebody running sideways across the wall, and you're gonna think a critter, but it was just like huge. All the stuff comes down off the wall. It scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
No, it might have been a critter.
It might have been a critter.
But aliens, of course, believe in that aliens exist. Our universe is massive. There's more stars than there are grains of sand on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
There's more planets than there are words for me to describe how many there are. We'd have to go into like pure scientific theoretical numbers.
Yeah.
There's no way that we're the only life.
Impossible.
But can we reach the other life? Have you heard of the Fermi paradox?
No. Please tell me.
Okay. So let's assume that life can just happen randomly on decent conditions. The universe is so big, some number of stars are going to have planets in a habitable zone. Some number of them are going to have water. Some number of them are going to have the right conditions. So there should be some number of planets with life, right? And our universe is actually pretty old. It's dying right now. We're in like the late stage of the universe.
Okay.
So there should have been plenty of opportunities in the last 11 billion years to develop intelligent life. And they would have been millions or billions of years ahead of us technologically. We can already basically see into the past with the Hubble telescope. Imagine what they're doing now. But then the question becomes, where are they?
Yeah.
Why haven't we seen or heard from anyone or anything?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Cletus, who got abducted by a UFO and has a picture of himself throwing a hubcap really fast in the sky, but like something big. You would think that aliens would be everywhere. It'd be teeming. Any civilization that lives that long would have colonized other worlds, right? But there's nothing. So the paradox is why nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got an even scarier theory, which I kind of personally prescribe to, as Hunters in a Dark Forest.
Mm-hmm.
It was in a book I read. And it's basically, you assume aliens are like Star Trek or Farscape. They're humanoid, and this one's got red hair, and they can talk English. That's probably not it. They're going to be bizarre, weird creatures that don't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Some number
like
of
an octopus.
legs. Yes, or weirder. Sensory organs that we might not even be able to imagine at the moment because their evolution is totally divergent and unique. They might not have eyes. They might feel electricity. They might communicate psychically. They might be microorganisms that coalesce into a brain briefly to make a decision and then spread apart. All sorts of weird stuff you could have. They're going to be radically different from us.
Mm-hmm.
So different, in fact, that communication might be very impossible. Have you ever explained yourself to a cockroach?
No.
How would you explain the concept of funding your business to a roach that has no concept of any of that?
Fuck.
So that's a simple example. Might not be roaches to the aliens.
Yeah.
But the difference could be so vast that communication could be nearly impossible. But there will inevitably be competition between species. So any sufficiently advanced civilization would want to wipe out any other sufficiently advanced civilization so that there is no other competition, because there may not be any cooperation, and competition could be deadly. So the theory suggests that any sufficiently advanced civilization is probably hunting. They're expanding, and they're going to destroy anything that they find as soon as they find it, and they'll do it before we can do anything. Because if they're traveling faster than the speed of light, all they got to do is slam a rock or a ship into Earth at the speed of light, and it is donezo. We literally wouldn't even be able to see it coming because it would be faster than the speed of light. Nothing could detect it, just be gone instantly. So that's a very scary one. And perhaps even scarier than that is the speed of light could be absolute. We can't travel the galaxy because of the speed of light. Even right now, if we had a ship that goes the same speed of light, the universe is expanding so fast and the stars are so far away, it'd take millions of years to get to them. At a certain point in the future, we won't be able to travel with them at all because the space is going to be expanding faster than the speed of light.
So what
that
you're
could
saying,
be a hard limit.
What you're saying that in theory, to simplify it, if the speed of light was 100, you would need it to be faster than 100 in order to be able to even see anything on the universe.
Yes, at some point in the future.
Yeah.
And the fact that we haven't seen any aliens might mean that our current theory that the speed of light is absolute is real. There could be a civilization 1 billion years old, and it's just a hard fact about the universe that the speed of light is what it is, and you can't beat that. The same way triangles have 3 sides. There's no, 2 plus 2 is 4.
Mm-hmm.
And no amount of technology in the world will fix that. And in that case, that's just us here on Earth. So I guess I'm a humanist in that sense. I believe we got to make the best of what we got now. We can't depend on aliens. We can't depend on Elon Musk going to Mars. We got to make this planet work. Because for now, the best science says this is all we've got.
Yeah. There's just wishful thinking. Anything else that we have out there?
Very wishful. I hope it's all true. I'd love to see aliens. Would you not love to make alien contact in your lifetime? It'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, from a UFO perspective, what do you think that is?
Maybe aliens. Mostly probably government experimental crafts. Probably stuff like ball lightning or unusual weather phenomenon. But there are some that really make me wonder. Some that kind of defy the laws of physics. And those are the ones that I'm curious about. I'm sure you saw the Navy one where they're following this thing that's moving fast and then underwater and above.
Yeah.
Something like that would be more alien because they would have something that we couldn't quantify well.
Yeah. No, that's it's they don't keep me up at night, those thoughts, but I do often find myself staring into the sky and saying, it's like, what the fuck is out there? When we got back from Sinaloa, I went fishing earlier this year. We were up in the mountains of Sinaloa, Mexico. So the sky was unlike anything I've ever seen. Like, I've been to rural areas here in the United States, but I've never seen that many stars in the sky. I took a picture of it, and it doesn't even describe the magnitude or the amount of them that there are. It's what we see here is nothing comparison to what actually is there, which is like the most mind-blowing shit ever. Like, there was almost as equal amount of light as there was dark in that one specific area that I was looking.
And you're seeing a tiny little smidgen of the Milky Way, which is one of billions of galaxies.
Yeah.
Which is, like I said, we don't have the numbers our brains aren't made to understand things that big.
Yeah. And if you think about it, right, if we can identify the probability of life like it happened on Earth at 1 billion, and if there's a billion, then obviously there's a bunch of them that it can happen. It's a probability, a mathematical almost certainty that it did happen.
I'm in total agreement with you. Now, where are they? Will we say hello to them anytime soon? Odds of that are not so great.
No.
But maybe.
Do you think because we just aren't, I mean, obviously there's a war going on right now, right? Like,
dude,
it's
aliens fly by Earth and like we need to roll our windows up and keep going.
Like, it smells bad in here. That's so cool. Do you believe that I don't believe in this one, but that marijuana was an alien plant that was left here? No.
It's got a pretty
Someone was shaking his head yes.
Yes? Well, I thought it had a pretty clear like evolutionary history. That's why the ancient astronaut stuff doesn't make sense. Because if we came from somewhere else, there'd be like this sudden poof of people like magic or like a huge change, but it's a pretty gradual evolution.
Yep.
So that would be very unlikely in my opinion.
I agree.
But I'm not an ancient astronaut theorist. At some points in my life I've had the hair for that job, but
you know what show I want to recreate? Did you ever watch Action Bronson's do you know who that is?
Sounds familiar.
Action Bronson's this big white dude rapper. He's lost a lot of weight. He was just recently on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's lost like 175 pounds. But him and his friends get high and watch Ancient Aliens on camera. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know. I have never done such a thing in my life.
No.
Never. Well,
I want to recreate. And that was such a good series, right? Yes. Because it's like just him and his boys ordering food, smoking fucking joints, dabs, fucking bongs, and they're in like this massive green screen room.
I've seen that show. It's great. And George Sokolakopoulos comes on there with his hair that's like this big, and he's like, were the pyramids made by architects, or as ancient astronaut theorists suggest, they're giant energy crystals left by Martians? And it's amazing.
I go with the second one. There's impossible for any human, even today, without the technology that we have to build a pyramid.
Oh?
You think that we can right now?
You heard of slaves?
Yes. But but you can't, it doesn't matter. Like, you think that 1 million slaves can pick up a very awkward to grab rock? Like, I mean, you can't even fit.
They don't have to pick it up. So I said slaves as a joke. It was mostly artisans and architects. Do we have, anybody have a pencil?
Yes, we can get one.
Okay. I will use my phone and we will, like a science experiment here on your podcast.
Yeah. I'm excited because if you're gonna tell me, it's like, obviously you put, tree trunks and then roll it over. How do you still get the fucking heaviest rock to the top at that mathematical angle that is even on all sides?
Okay, I'll get to that. I'll have to use your laptop for that one too.
Sure.
So, easy. We'll do science here today. It's so fun.
I love it, man. I'm so excited.
Thank you. All right, that one's not gonna roll.
Oh, okay. We need a roller.
Unless you just want me to break it.
No. I gotta...
Anything that's round that rolls will work. We'll just, I don't care if my phone gets marked. Do you care if the laptop gets marked on? Okay, perfect.
Experiment away.
So let's say this is your super heavy stone block, right?
Yeah.
And slaves aren't going to pick this up on their backs and walk uphill. That's not happening.
Right,
Humans ain't like that. Okay. Well, you can put more than one, obviously.
Yeah.
But you put it on a roller,
yep.
and all of a sudden you could probably have about 10 guys here doing some of this number.
Yep.
Now, it does become much more difficult when we are going uphill, right? But have you ever heard of puller and lever and pulley?
Yes.
So you can do the same thing, rollers here. Now, the pyramid wouldn't be square at the time, right? What they would have it is realistically probably just like you see how they construct houses, they make these dirt ramps and stuff. There'd be a dirt ramp, and it wouldn't be this 45 degrees. They'd build a ramp out of dirt like this.
Okay.
And even if it needed to go up taller, the ramp would just be longer. So if you can hold, because I only have so many hands. So we'll say it's really long ramp, and it would be exactly the same thing. And they'd roll this block up the hill. And on this end, they would have a couple of ropes. And not at the edge of this, but probably on the other side of the pyramid, they would have people pulling it down and people pushing here. And it'd be slow and miserable and painful, but it would roll up. And if it was too damn heavy, what they would do is cancel work for the day. And they would just build this ramp longer, and make it flatter. And it'd just be easier to roll. They'd do that all day.
And just around the pyramid, around the pyramid, around the pyramid.
So the pyramid wouldn't have been rocks on rocks. It probably would have looked like a giant dirt mound until it was almost completely finished.
Holy fuck. And then what? Just grab a million
shovels,
brooms and shovels and clean that off? That's actually not a bad idea.
I think that's much more reasonable than alien technology.
Okay, explain the mathematical accuracy of it.
Of what?
The pyramids. Or
do you think ancient people were stupid? Do you think we changed that much in 2,000 years?
I think that the technology and the knowledge of that sort of stuff, like the pyramids in Mexico that are like so perfectly cut that fit together so perfectly well. Like, where do they even get that sort of tools to do that?
You can find evidence of the tools usually by the sites.
Like, has that been found?
Yes.
What are you watching that I'm not watching?
Ancient Aliens Debunked.
Okay. Really? Is that what it is?
It's like a 3-hour YouTube video, and it's exactly what you're talking about. They're like, how did the ancient Mayans cut stones this perfectly? And it's like a British guy, and he's like, well, actually, 10 miles away, we found evidence in this archaeological village and this stone tablet that explains how they built this cutting tool and this thing, and you can even see the stones where they used to like experiment with and stuff, and it's interesting. But it's impressive, though, because they did this, no computers, no technology, no machinery, no nothing. It was people over thousands of years learning things very slowly. The Egyptians got close to the proper value of pi, which is impressive. And learning, all the pyramids are designed around astrology, where the stars and sun and moon and equinoxes are. These are like 100, 200, 3,000 year projects. These are things that these were like the pinnacle of their civilizations for a super long time. And we are not any more evolved or smarter or better than people maybe up to 10,000 years ago. Human beings is basically the same.
Yeah.
We just have the luxury of all of the knowledge that they had in the past.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of that. In the past, when the Egyptians were around, a normal person would be lucky to see a single book in their lifetime, much less be able to read it or have access to a library.
Yeah.
We have the internet. You have anything that you ever want to know about anything right there on your phone.
That's
so we're
crazy.
lucky. We are building our society off of the knowledge of our ancestors.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, look, I typed it down just so I can go watch it, because you better believe that I am. What about the amount of hieroglyphics that have men in spacesuits?
Okay.
Or what we interpret as it looks like a...
If you read their mythology, it's mostly not that. I mean, there's bird people, dog people, various gods. If you look at ancient Greek mythology, their monsters was just like, this is a lion, but it's got a wolf head, and we're going to put wings on it. And you'll see that modern monsters like werewolves are these hybrid, complicated things that CGI artists spend years making look real. Ancient people's idea of monsters were like big wolf, or we're going to put a lion's tail on this and a giraffe neck on this, and you're going to make something that kind of looks bizarre. They didn't have the concept of hybridization exactly. So when you start doing that with people and deities, here's a sky god, and he's got the head of a hippopotamus, so his head is big and round, and he's got big eyes, and he lords over some myth. It looks like a dude in a suit to us.
Yeah.
It is weird, though. I got to admit, though, it's weird. There's some stuff you should look into that's super weird.
Yeah, please.
There's Ezekiel's wheel in the Bible. which may also be an
I've
angel.
heard about that.
Biblical angels are described as rotating wheels of fire with infinite eyes, or like portholes. It's super weird.
Yeah.
Then there's the 1628 Battle of the Gods over Venice.
Yep.
And then there's another one in India that happened in like 400 or 500, very similar to the one in Venice.
The Chariots of the Gods. It's the book on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the most scientifically accurate.
Of course.
And the one in India describes a battle between Buddha and Vishnu and all these other people, but like avatars. And when you read back, it sounds just like the thing that happened in Venice in the 1600s, like almost like an alien battle up there. And these are historical records that seem real, and they're really weird. And I think that's the stuff that people should research more. When you talk to somebody and they say, I met a gray alien, like your friend back there, I know this, they do that, and they explain every little thing about a paranormal event. Like, I saw a ghost, the ghost talked to me, I exorcised the ghost, I know it was this and I know it was that. That's usually somebody making something up. When you see a story of like, this thing happened, it was terrifying, and I have no idea why it happened, and this is the best evidence I've got, that's somebody that's telling the truth. They could still be wrong and mistaken, but that's a truth.
Yeah.
And those are the things that we should be researching more than some of the more fun things like lizard people.
Yeah, that's so good. Dude, I can sit here and talk to you for at least 3 more hours just on different topics, but more specifically this one.
Okay.
But I don't want to waste your day, and I think that we're up to what? We're up there, right? Hell yeah.
Man, this is going to be a great podcast,
This is probably one of the longest ones we've done in the last at least 20 episodes. So I thank you for stopping by. Hopefully this won't be the last time. I'll probably invite you back out to have like I'm going to bring my brother on, who's also like a super theorist on that. And we need a man of science, a man of knowledge. And
love to be here.
Yeah, please do.
This was fun.
Thank you, man. Yeah. You should do your own podcast. Everybody, like, you know what I mean? Like every single. I don't suggest that to just anybody, just so you know. But yeah, I'll invite you back. I want to thank you again. All of your information will be listed in the description down below. Go follow him on Twitter. Go follow his YouTube. Watch his ghost videos and all that stuff. If you want to learn more about Call of Duty, that's also. I mean, shit. Just go and learn everything over there. Again, I want to shout out DoorDash, Canva, and Curology for supporting the podcast the way they did. And we'll see you guys on episode number 94. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.